Hi, my name is Victor Sanchez Aghahowa. I am a showrunner and a director. To break that down, it means I'm a writer, producer, and director for television. Showrunning is, in common parlance, even in the TV business, it's a relatively new term. In Nigeria, it's a very new term. Traditionally, a showrunner is the executive producer who is in charge of the show. It's kind of a weird thing. The best analogy I've heard is somebody giving a writer a multi-million naira, dollar, whatever country you're in, business to run. It's a blend of both creative skills and producer skills. So you are in charge of the directors, you are in charge of the writing team, you're in charge of post, and you're in charge of the budget. So you have to know a bit of accounting, not a bit, a lot of accounting, editing, directing. You don't have to know a lot about directing, but it helps. But you have to know a lot about writing. 99% of all showrunners are screenwriters. Talking about the evolution of my career, I started out as a screenwriter. Actually, no, I started out as a playwright. Then laziness made me a screenwriter. Because as a playwright, you put on, not just a playwright, I was directing for theater. And the idea is you put on a play, you rehearse a play 20 times, you put it on once. Film or TV, you shoot it once, you can show it 200 times. Laziness won. So I moved over to film entertainment. Thought I wanted to do movies, realized it's a completely different skill set. Television is my religion. So I started as a screenwriter, worked my way through a few shows, worked my way up. Then I started directing. And at first I started directing for all the wrong reasons and I failed spectacularly. I started directing because I wanted to protect my work from all those people who sought to destroy it. It's what happens when a writer and a director don't mesh and you give a director your work and they shoot something that has nothing to do with what you wrote. But the older I got in the business and in age, you realize nobody comes to work to do a bad job. It takes as much energy to shoot a bad project as it does to shoot a good one. The crew's still going to work mad hours. The actors are going to still have to learn lines. Post still going to have to work crazy. It's just a communication thing. As a writer, if you were clear on your intent, you can't be misunderstood. Which is why all the writers who work for me now, I insist that they direct a short film. So there's no us and them mentality of they will not understand, they will ruin the work. There's no they, it's all us. But I started directing initially for all the wrong reasons because I wanted to keep my work pure. That failed. And then I started working my way up a traditional writer's room system. And then I got the chance to direct again. And even though I was scared because of the first earlier failure, I started directing for television. I prefer the chaos of television. I prefer the immediacy of television. The idea that on your worst days, you are literally shooting scenes. You are literally shooting scenes on a Monday that will TX on a Friday. But essentially, after directing for television for a while, I started producing. Then I started producing for television because at a point you work on a lot of shows and then you finally learn how to create shows. I tell a lot of young writers who walk up to me and say, I have this idea for a show, how do I sell it? The answer to that question is you don't. People don't buy shows from writers, people buy shows from producers. That's what it is. You are being commissioned to produce a product. Nobody cares about your creativity. Your creativity has to help them achieve their goal, then they will help you achieve yours. So I started producing and then I started show running because that's what I'm born to do. I don't know how to do anything else. I'm not qualified to do anything else. So that's all I do. Someone coming in the game as a screenwriter now, you lucky bastard. When we came in the game, I think I was getting paid 5,000 naira for a 30-minute script. And I took it happily because I couldn't understand why anybody would pay me to do this. One piece of advice on the positive side, there's a career path for you now. A lot of people built it with blood, sweat, and tears, and I'm not talking about my generation. I'm talking about the ones before us. Names if you went in the game, then will possibly go forgotten. You know the shows they made, you just don't know their names. A lot of people sacrificed a lot to build the TV business to where it is now. You are on the lucky end of things. People will tell you you can make a career out of it. That's completely false. They are not being disingenuous, they just don't know. So don't listen to anybody in terms of, and I'm not talking about your skill set now, I'm talking about in terms of whether this is a viable career path. It is. Now I'm going to flip on the other side. You are not as talented as you think you are. Because a lot of people think, I've seen 5 seasons of Grey's Anatomy. I'm going to walk into an operating theater, take a scalpel, and do an appendectomy. Nobody will do that, right? Yeah, there are not people who think, I have a hard drive full of films. I think I can write one. It doesn't work that way. There is your natural flair, then there's understanding the craft, then there's training, then there's honing your skill. A lot of filmmakers I know will say they always hit the phase where they were excited someone would pay them to do this because they would do it for free, which meant they spent lots and lots of hours doing it for free. But they weren't playing, they were honing their craft. Then you have to learn how to put your work in front of people whose opinions you respect. Because one of the biggest problems is understanding you're not making it for yourself. You're making it for an audience. You have to learn how to get feedback from the audience. Feedback is not the same thing as input. You wanted the audience to feel a certain way. That's it. You're not writing to impress yourself. You're not writing to impress your English teacher. You are writing to make the reader and hence the end viewer feel a certain way. If you can focus on just that, learning how to make a director insist, I know how this is supposed to feel and I don't need to change anything, you're already ahead of the curve. Parting words. I'm going to focus on 2 sets of people. Aspiring screenwriters just about to get in the game. The game needs you desperately. I know if you read like Hollywood Reporter, Variety, like there is a huge scarcity of trained TV writers in the US. It's a drought around here. If you've been thinking about it, jumping with both feet. In a few months to a year, you might just be ready to get in the game. You will grow faster within the next 3 years. You can grow in the next 3 years what somebody else had to do for 12 years in the generation before you. For writers who want to become showrunners, there is no us versus them. There is no such thing. There is no, oh, actors are so temperamental, I don't know how anybody has to deal with them. You are applying to be the one that deals with them. There is no, I don't know what the edit department did because the director is really good. You are in charge of everything. If you can't imagine running a 5-person writer's room, I don't know how you plan to intend to run a 200 to 1,000 person crew. But it's not about you. You are here to serve the show. These people will gladly serve you if they feel you are giving your best to serve a higher purpose. Stare off into the sunset exit.